Hey guys, so in today's video we are making my first ever nice folder. I've done a couple friction folders years ago, but I specifically, if you've seen my last video, bought a milling machine, which you will see a lot in this video, specifically for making these folders. And so today we're going to do that. Hopefully it's only a one-part series, so it wouldn't be a series, but it might be multiple parts. My friend Dylan Tanner made these exquisite blueprints. He did all the CAD for me based off of my design and prototype that I made, so please give him a follow somewhere down here. And he should also be linked in the description of this video. So we are going to get started by cutting out the blade, and we are doing that in MagnaCut stainless steel. All right, so I can just cut this out. It's the exact size that I need. Put it on this bar of MagnaCut, cut that out with a bandsaw, surface grind it, and then we'll be on our way. All right, so I cut out these titanium scales a couple like 3 or 4 months ago actually. They've got some sort of weird oil staining on one side. The other side is fine. So I've got same thing as with the blade. Put this on, cut off the excess, and then we start doing the pivot hole and stop pin area. Alright, so I decided to actually drill the hole, at least the pivot hole. I don't think these, well, the pivot hole and the stop pin hole. These ones don't matter as much before I profile it fully, just because it is better to have extra material than come in, have my profile, and then drill the hole wrong. I don't want that, so we're gonna quickly drill out the pivot hole, ream it, do the stop pin hole, and ream that too. Okay, so I got this hole drilled. It's not reamed yet because I want to make a fixture to put it in the correct place and drill through this hole into the other scale to make sure that they're lined up, but we're not doing that yet. I need to drill these holes here, except I now realize that I do not have 89 thousandths drill bits. I have like 66 and 95, and I've tried both. Neither this is what needs to go into then countersink, and this will not fit in the 66, and it is too big or too small for the 95, obviously, because it's not the right size. So off to the hardware store we go. Okay, so I've got the correct size drill bits. This is still at drilled size, 170 thousandths, so it's yet to be reamed out to 185 or 187.5, I think. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, put it in the mill, and because I cannot hold the small enough drill bits in the mill to drill these holes, what I'm going to do is center mark them with this, because this is a 1/4 inch shank. Then I'm going to take it over to the drill press, actually punch all the way through with those holes, then go back to the mill and countersink them with the countersink bit, which will then be like this, allowing a screw to go inside. Okay, so we've got these drilled. This is actually not to be drilled. This is to be end milled out. So milled down and then reamed for a 1/8 inch pin. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do that. We'll see. It would also probably be easier to just do it straight through the back spacer so that I don't have to then go back and like figure that all out. Anyway, now I'm going to grind up to the black line all the way around. Then I will have a shaped scale with the holes in the places that I need. Then I can transfer this onto the other scale, drill through these holes, and then I can start the countersinking and do the stop pin hole. Okay, so unfortunately on the counter bore I have, I broke off the tip, and I at first was very scared and I thought I'd have to buy another one because I only had one and they're also over $100 each. I was pretty scared, but I talked to my friend Lucas Gumbiner. I'll link him here, go follow him on Instagram, and he told me you can take these, and as long as you get your hole, or this centered over your hole, you can just use it as a counterbore anyway. The pilot's only to keep it centered. If you have the mill centering it, you don't need the pilot. So what I did is, you'll see here, I milled down this point. I can get that to hold down my part. I can then clamp it, and then I can raise it back up, put this in, and it is perfectly centered. And I already did that on this one, and you can see it worked great. I've put screws in it, it works just fine. So that's how I'm going to do that hole and then that second last hole over there. Alright, so I made a fixture for drilling the stop pin hole. Here is a test. Basically what I do is I have a reamed hole that I can put a pivot in that holds the blade centered. I zero the DRO on the center pivot, actually in the hole, come back 270 thousandths, and then over here I've got a hole which lines up with this hole. I can put a pin through, or I guess I don't have that size pin, so I'll just use a drill bit. Do that, drill that, ream it. This is what it looks like in the end. It looks good. This is the exact same distance as it will be from the pivot on these. And then once that's done, I can take this up, put the other scale in, and I have the same hole drilled the same distance away, so that when I fixture that down, it's drilling in the same spot on this scale. So that's what we are gonna do now. Alright guys, so you saw me ream and do the stop pin holes. Those lined up perfectly. I put them together. It looks exquisite. Now we are going to surface grind our blade. It's at about 1.187 right now, 0.189 actually, maybe a little bit oversized. We're going to grind it down to 0.155. And then we are going to cut our stop pin track, and once I do that, if I don't mess that up, then we can counter bore, and then it will be ready for heat treat. So let's get on it. Okay, so I've got this piece of black Timascus that I'm going to use as the backspacer. It's not shaped at all, this is just a rough scrap of it. I have scribed a line along here, which I will sand to, but for now what I'm going to do is, because this drill bit, which is what I need for the 256 screw tap, is too small, I will just spot drill with this just ever so slightly. Then that will show me where to drill with this, drill all the way through with this. I will then take it off, tap it, put one of these in, that will hold it, and then I can drill this second hole, and then I'll do the same on that. Okay, so I've got the backspacer tapped and drilled. It has some gunk in it, but that doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's a little bit too thick, so we're gonna put it in the vise and mill off 10 thousandths of an inch, and then we should be perfect. We'll be right at about 195 thousandths. Okay, so now that it's the correct thickness, I can grind up to these lines all around, and we will basically have our backspacer. So let's go do that. Okay, so I also did an alignment pin on both handles that goes through the backspacer, and it's looking pretty good. Everything still needs to be finish shaped. It's all just kind of rough. You can see there's a little overhang there. It needs to be sanded down. All right, so that's going to be the end of today's video. I should be finishing it up in part 2, which will be out in maybe a week or so. We'll see, depending on how long it takes me to finish it. But this is where we are at. It's a little bit tightened too hard right now, but it does open and close. We've got our stop pin, everything, and it's looking just fabulous. So in next week's video, or the next video whenever that comes out, we will be heat treating the blade, cutting the inset lock channel, doing all that work, the lockup, all the finish work, and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.